was a bitterly cold October night in late autumn, deep in the Pacific Northwest. Portland, Oregon, to be exact. The sky was heavy gray, fog creeping between the trees, like it was searching for something to swallow. 4 friends sat in a dimly lit old cafe called the Rusty Nail on the eastern edge of the city. They spoke in low voices, scrolling through their phones, planning something none of them yet realized would change their lives forever. Their names were Jake, the quiet engineer, always calculating, always carrying a small notebook to record every detail. Mike, the enthusiastic one, self-proclaimed king of urban exploration, with a GoPro strapped to his chest, dreaming of the viral video that would make him famous. Tyler, the cheerful one who lightened every mood with jokes, though deep down he was terrified of the dark and would never admit it. Ethan, the oldest, a part-time history teacher who spent his free hours reading obscure books on mysteries and ancient legends, convinced that some places carry curses you cannot see. Mike pushed his phone toward the group. On the screen was an old, black and white photo of a towering Victorian house, 3 stories high, half hidden by giant evergreens. The windows were black voids, the wooden porch sagging as if on the verge of collapse. "This is Blackwood Manor," Mike said in a hushed, excited voice. "Right in the heart of the Cascade Mountains, about an hour and a half's drive from here. Built in 1937 by Dr. Elias Harlow, a neurologist. But he wasn't an ordinary doctor. People say he conducted terrifying experiments on psychiatric patients, electroshock without anesthesia, injections that made them see things no human mind should see, strange rituals blending science with ancient occult practices. He claimed he was opening doors in the human mind, doors to other worlds." Tyler smiled nervously. "So, a haunted house, ghosts and all that?" "Worse than that," Ethan replied in a calm, chilling tone. "In 1941, Dr. Harlow vanished without a trace. No body, no note, no records after that date. The house was sealed. And ever since, anyone who entered didn't come back whole. In the 1970s, a group of high school kids went in. One came back alone, saying his friend walked into the wall and disappeared. In the 1990s, ghost hunters recorded video. It cut off mid-sentence with screams and whispers in an unknown language in the background. The last group, college students filming a documentary in 2014. Their car was found 2 weeks later, doors locked from the inside, keys in the ignition, no trace of them at all. Silence fell over the table for a long moment, then Mike said, "It's all just stories. We go in, film it, come out, and we'll have an incredible video." They agreed, despite the heavy feeling already creeping into their hearts. The journey to the house. On Saturday, they packed everything. Powerful flashlights, extra batteries, a drone, food rations, a first aid kit, rain jackets, emergency supplies. The drive was long. The road changed from asphalt to gravel to dirt. Trees closed in tighter until the sky was only a thin gray strip above them. When they finally parked at the end of the overgrown trail, the silence was deafening. No birds, no wind, only the crunch of their footsteps on wet leaves. The house appeared suddenly through the fog, Blackwood Manor. Its wood black as charcoal, ivy climbing the walls like thick green fingers clutching the building. Broken windows, but some seemed to breathe. A faint green glow, pulsing from inside, then vanishing. They stepped in. Inside the house. The smell hit them first. Old mildew, damp paper, rusted metal, and a faint trace of sulfur, as if an unseen fire burned somewhere far below. The foyer was vast, the grand staircase spiraling up into thick darkness. A massive mirror dominated one wall. But when they stood before it, Tyler noticed first. Our reflections, they're not right. Our faces look longer, our eyes darker. They tried to ignore it, but the reflections began to move slowly on their own. A faint smile appeared on Mike's mirrored face, even though he wasn't smiling. In the treatment room, they found metal chairs bolted to the floor, leather straps cracked with age, dangling wires, surgical tools crusted with dark stains. Ethan lifted an old leather-bound ledger and read aloud. Patient 19, after the third injection, began seeing doors everywhere. Screamed continuously for 47 minutes. Then sudden silence. Pupils permanently dilated, eyes completely black. Now smiles constantly. Room temperature dropped 12 degrees. A translucent figure appeared in the corner, whispering incantations. The doors have begun to open. When he closed the book, the pages flipped open again on their own, to a page filled with sketches of tall, faceless entities reaching through cracks in reality. The upper floor. They climbed the groaning staircase that seemed to ache under their weight. In one bedroom, they found iron bed frames stained with dark patches, walls covered in deep scratches, some like frantic fingernails, others like claws far too large to be human. Dozens of old photographs pinned to the wall, patients staring blankly, eyes pure black ink, mouths frozen in silent screams. Suddenly, one photo seemed to shift. The patient's mouth opened wider, as if trying to scream for real. Then came the heavy footsteps directly above them, in the attic. Slow, deliberate steps, accompanied by a low, guttural chant, echoing through the floorboards. The attic. They entered the attic. The smell was overwhelming, rotting meat, old incense, thick dampness. Broken trunks, spilled yellowed papers, and glowing glass vials filled with swirling, iridescent liquids. In the center stood an antique rocking chair, moving slowly back and forth, with no one sitting in it. Tyler stepped forward to stop it. The chair froze instantly. Then it spun violently, hurled itself against the wall, shattered into pieces, only for the fragments to briefly reform into the shape of a skeletal hand before crumbling to dust. From downstairs came the sound of a child's laughter, high, joyful, terribly wrong. Then whispers, "Come, the doors are open." The true horror begins. They ran downstairs. The front door was now shut tight, though they had left it open. They pushed with all their strength. It wouldn't move. The wood felt warm, pulsing like living skin. Then Tyler heard it, his mother's voice, dead for years. "Tyler, sweetheart, come here. I'm waiting." He froze. That's not a joke, right? He walked toward the side hallway. They shouted after him. A single sharp scream. Then the wet sound of tearing flesh. Then silence. They found only his GoPro on the floor. Lens cracked, but still recording. The final seconds showed a long black arm, impossibly long, ending in bone-like claws, wrapping around his throat and pulling him into the wall. The plaster rippled like black water, then sealed smooth again. For a few seconds, the faint outline of his struggling body bulged beneath the surface before vanishing completely. The collapse. Only 3 remained. Mike was shaking, tears streaming. Ethan whispered, "We have to get out. Now!" They tried the basement, perhaps a coal chute or back exit. The wooden stairs snapped under Ethan's weight. He fell with a cry. They heard bones breaking, flesh tearing, a long, bubbling gurgle. Then, faintly from below, his voice, "The incantations. They're summoning more." A translucent patient apparition rose from the darkness, hollow eyes staring, pointing at them before dissolving into mist. Only Jake and Mike left. The walls began to throb like a living heart. Doors slammed open and shut on their own. Hundreds of voices whispered their names in overlapping layers. Chairs floated lazily in the air. Books flipped pages by themselves, revealing forbidden drawings of eyeless entities reaching toward them. Mike looked at Jake with wild eyes. "I'm sorry, this is all my fault." Jake grabbed his arm. "Not now. We find a way out." They smashed a second-floor window. Mike jumped first, landed hard, leg twisting with a sick crack. Jake followed. Mike tried to crawl. "Jake, run! Don't stop!" Jake looked back. Tall, liquid black shadows poured from the windows and foundation cracks. They coiled around Mike's ankles like living ropes. He screamed as they dragged him toward the tree line. His flashlight spun wildly, illuminating pale, eyeless faces watching from between the trees. Then his voice cut off, replaced by a deep, demonic laugh that echoed through the forest. Escape? Or curse? Jake ran for hours in the darkness, branches slashing his face, mud sucking at his boots, until he stumbled onto a paved road. Headlights appeared. A sheriff's deputy stopped. Jake collapsed against the car, covered in mud and blood. He told them everything. They didn't believe him. The next day they returned with dogs and drones. They found the trailhead. But the house was gone. Just an empty clearing overgrown with ferns and young pines. In the center, strange symbols scorched into the earth, glowing faintly under moonlight. Jake was never the same. He barely sleeps. Every night he hears his friends. Tyler laughing, Mike saying, "Let's get the shot." Ethan reading from the ledger in his calm voice, now mixed with ancient chants. When he stares too long in the mirror, his eyes look darker, wider. Sometimes the glass whispers, "The doors are inside you now." On foggy nights, he sees the silhouette of Blackwood Manor appear at the edge of his vision, then vanish when he blinks. Translucent hands reach from the mist, beckoning him back. The house is patient. It knows he will return one day. Because some houses never truly let you leave, even when you think you've escaped.